All right, welcome to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. Listen, it's elections coming up again, okay? And a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump will not make a second term as president. I definitely think that he is going to be a two-term president. Reason being, he knows exactly how to play the game and when to do what he is doing. Now, this whole thing happened yesterday. So yesterday, children finished their first day of school with no parents to go home to tonight, was the headline of this paper. And in one swoop, 680 people were swooped up, zip-tied, handcuffed, put on buses for processing by ICE in a raid, okay? And this happened in Mississippi, United States of America. See, a lot of people are poking fun at Trump and saying, oh, your raids didn't work, you talk too much, all that. And I told everyone, look, even the advocate groups, they're going around telling people, you don't have to open your door when ICE comes because legally, ICE cannot push your door open or come inside of a private dwelling. And I told y'all, I said the next time they come, they're coming warrants or they are going to catch these people in public places. Okay, fine. Can't catch you in private places, we'll catch you in public places. And this is exactly what happened. So children finished their school day yesterday with no parents to go home to. No parents to go home to. That's crazy. One of the stories said that the children were given food and blankets by strangers, and a lot of them just slept at their school in the gym on the benches and the floor. Wow. Babies and toddlers remained at daycare centers with no guardian to pick them up. A child searched for a workplace parking lot for missing parents and just couldn't find her parents. She was just wandering around the parking lot looking. Those are some of the many stories immigrant rights advocates told the Jackson Free Press they heard on Wednesday. Today is Thursday. In calls with school officials, co-workers, and distressed family members of immigrants whom ICE rounded up in Mississippi. So on Wednesday morning in Mississippi, the Homeland Security Investigations Unit of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, they coordinated with the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Mississippi, Mike Hurst, to carry out what they called the largest single state worksite enforcement action in the nation's history. So at 2 p.m. press conference, Hurst said they were rounding up undocumented immigrants who are working in the United States or who might have committed some other kind of crime, but was not specific about the charges. Let them go. Let them go. The Associated Press reported that family members, including children, crying as immigrants and custom enforcement agents loaded these people onto buses outside of a plant where they worked in Morton, Mississippi. Now, for a plant to hire this many illegal residents, that plant should be closed down immediately. The people who run that plant should be facing prison time and should face a fine that is so huge they would spend their whole days of their life working to pay it off. Let's not just put the blame on these illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants being exploited is what this was, okay? Because I'm sure they weren't getting decent wages and all that. And that's the reason why they were able to hire and keep so many of them. So ICE carried out raids in 5 other Mississippi cities, including Bay Springs, Carthage, Sebastopol, Tallahatchie, and Canton. Altogether, ICE rounded up 680 immigrant workers and loaded them onto buses. Hearst said that they would next go to Louisiana ICE facility for processing. Advocates at the Mississippi Immigrant Rights Alliance, or MIRA, spent Wednesday afternoon scrambling to answer calls from distressed family members and to find out exactly what was happening to their family members. Well, I hope they're tuned into SouFLoTV, because I've done a video in the past where I walked you through the complete process of what to do once this happens to any of your family members, who to contact, and what to expect is going on with them, and how to locate your family members if they are swooped up by ICE. So, we're not trying to deal with schools because of the children that may be left behind by ICE, Mayor President Bill Chandler said. They tased him and knocked him to the ground. Mayor organizer Luis Espinoza traveled to Canton on Wednesday to help families trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what they should do next, Chandler said. ICE agents attempted to arrest at least one U.S. citizen at the plant in Canton, Chandler reported. In Canton, there was a young man who was working there that protested the arrest because he was an American citizen. Chandler said, and they tased him and knocked him to the ground and put handcuffs on him before they finally figured out that he was actually an American citizen, and they let him go. So as Mera understands it, Chandler said ICE will sort the detainees at a facility in Jena, LA, Louisiana. Some who have prior violations or have committed felonies, they will be locked up in facilities to await deportation trials, while others will be returned to their homes at some point with ankle monitoring bracelets. That is tantamount to house arrest, he said. He added that he doubts that the agents will find many, if any, felons among those that were arrested today. We're trying to put together all the pieces of what Hearst and ICE representatives were saying. They were not really clear at the conference, but we have been talking to the relatives of the victims, so we will know more about what's really going on a little later on. It's very confusing right now. Ongoing coverage of the politics and the treatment of immigrants and refugees in Mississippi. So while we're a nation of immigrants, more than that, we are first and foremost a nation of laws. The rules of law is the bedrock, the very foundation of our great country. Without law, there is no order. Without enforcement of law, there is no justice. This is Hearst speaking, whom Donald Trump nominated to that position in 2017. He did very well. This is who Trump nominated to that position in 2017, and he was the one that organized with ICE this raid that netted 680 arrests in one swoop. That's a big stripe on his shoulder. Okay. Hearst suggested more raids may be coming, and he said that employers who hire undocumented immigrants, they too should watch out. Now, here's the thing. I firmly believe that this is going to be city to city, state to state, and it is definitely going to be unannounced. Okay? Unannounced. So, whatever state you're in, just be on the lookout, because they're coming for you and they're going to show up. For those who take the advantage of illegal aliens, to those who use illegal aliens for competitive advantage or to make a quick buck, we have something to say to you. If we find that you have violated federal criminal laws, we're coming for you, he said. Chandler called Hearst out for what he called a racist language. When you use the term illegal alien, that is no different than using the N-word, he told Jackson Free Press. Pico, I gotta stop right there. I'm sorry. But, Using the word nigger and using the word illegal alien is two different things. And I like how people always throw black people into their mix, right? Because when we are called that N-word, right? Forget the people who call themselves that. But when we are called the N-word that starts with N and end with R, right? We don't take any glory in that. We don't take we don't see any respect in that. And people tend to try to use it against us as in saying that a whole race of people are ignorant, so on and so forth. Right? Now, sadly, the gay movement, it's the same thing. Now, we have no choice as black people. We were born black, right? And gay people are saying the same thing now. They're saying, well, you're black, you should understand what racism and prejudice is. I don't know. And now he's saying illegal alien is just like using the N-word. No, it's not. Honestly, the illegal alien is just what it is. If you're in somebody's country that is not your country of birth, you're an alien. And if you came in through the proper structure, then you are a legal alien. If you came in through improper structure or overstayed your welcome, you have become a illegal alien. So let's not get things confused here with the N-word. Okay, so Pico Foods, which runs the poultry plant ICE raided in Bay Springs, Canton, and Sebastopol, released a statement saying that the company is fully cooperating with the authorities in their investigation and are navigating a potential disruption of operations. Yeah, navigating a potential disruption of operations. And I must tell you that this company immediately put up a big old sign outside that says, hiring, apply within. Because they just lost pretty much all their staff, which was majority illegals. And now they have to hire all new people. And they expect to pay a fine and keep on making money doing business. So the company also denied violating any immigration laws. They said, we adhere strongly to all local, state, and federal laws, including utilizing the government-based E-Verify program, which screens new hires through the Social Security Administration as well as Department of Homeland Security for compliance. The company added that it is experiencing work stoppage, but is actively taking appropriate measures to best serve our team members and customers' needs. On Tuesday afternoon, Cliff Johnson and the director of the MacArthur Justice Center in the Mississippi University School of Law, they told Jackson Free Press that the raids were mean-spirited political grandstanding carried out in service to the Trump administration, even as Hearst insisted today that the operation wasn't about Trump and it wasn't about politics. It was simply carrying out the law. Mississippians do not want this, he said. We have a situation where nobody in Mississippi who I know is crying out for hundreds of out-of-state agents to invade Mississippi and haul off our hardworking neighbors and friends in zip ties on buses. Johnson said he believes that even most Mississippians who support Trump's immigration ideas on national levels are not calling for these roundups. And I'll tell you why they're not calling for them, because a lot of these people are hypocrites. They use illegal aliens, right, because they can pay them $2 an hour and $3 an hour, and they'll build a whole damn house in 48 hours for you. They'll clean your lawn up. They'll make your property look good. They'll work in your companies, from mechanic companies to chicken, poultry plants to whatever, and they'll do it for a tiny fraction of what they would have to pay a U.S. citizen to do it for, which means these businesses, whether small mom and pops or big, large corporations, they continue to net or gross a whole lot of money that they can then put in their pockets. And they don't have to pay these, they don't have to give these people health insurance or anything like that. So for them, it works for them. And of course they don't, as much as they get on TV and they say, yeah, we want illegals out. They really and truly want illegals in. They just don't want anybody to find out about it, and they just want illegals that they can use. Okay? That's just the truth. But anyways, We live in small communities. We know these folks. They coach baseball and little league and soccer, and they work in local businesses. Come on. We live side by side with them, and we know them, and we work with them, and they are our friends. On the micro level, these are our neighbors, and we don't want anybody to be mean to them. And the same people that feel the affinity on them might be yelling, build the wall, build the wall. But they're not yelling for anybody to come lock up my neighbor, come lock up my neighbor. The hypocrisy. The raids come less than a week after a white man in El Paso opened fire in a Walmart there just minutes after posting online that he planned to commit a massacre in response to an alleged Hispanic invasion that echoed words that Trump has repeatedly used in speeches and in thousands of campaign ads on social media over the past year, in which he referred to an influx of refugees and asylum seekers fleeing violence and oppression in Central America as an invasion. Trump traveled to El Paso Wednesday afternoon where he planned to call for unity, even as he uses Twitter to attack El Paso leaders like former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, a Democratic presidential candidate. Johnson said that he does not think those who carried out the ICE raid even stopped to consider the ramification of executing such a raid less than a week after the El Paso massacre, which left 22 people dead. A white man, by the way, left 22 Hispanic people dead. Okay? My sense is that there exists a group of people who are so committed to the positions espoused and articulated by their president that they have little or no capacity to consider the practicalities between this act and actions elsewhere and the practical implications of these actions on children especially. There are people so committed to the Trump agenda that they can rationalize any action in furtherance thereof, of that agenda. Johnson is concerned about the children who may have not had anyone to go home to. I've been getting calls and I've been hearing stories about children who went to their first day of school today and whose parents were hauled off, zip-tied and thrown on a bus, and how the government did not make accommodations for those situations concerning the children. You knew you were coming for their parents, but no follow-up for the children. Who was supposed to pick the babies up from daycare? Children were left in daycare. Children were left to sleep in schools on the gym floor. He said federal officials are telling schools to bring children back to school if they arrive home and their parents are not there. He is concerned about what will happen to the children who have no legal parents or guardians. No one has told me this, but you think about it. It is not too far-fetched to think that if the government detainees, or if the government determines that the parents of these kids are undocumented, that it is very possible that these children will either be detained themselves or taken into custody of the state. And I did a video on SouFLoTV where I spoke about that before, that a lot of these children are going to become wards of the state, end up in foster care, or end up in the care of family members who probably didn't want them in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So he said that he does not think it is an accident that the raids came the day after Mississippi's hotly contested party primaries in statewide and legislative races. It happened by chance the day after the primaries, huh? Really? I don't think that's an accident, he said, adding that he worked for the U.S. Department of Justice for 6 years as an assistant attorney. People can speculate as to which candidate they would favor and which candidate might have been more impacted by a move like this prior to the election. I know firsthand that there's nothing accidental about anything that happened today. Johnson said that he was not claiming that any candidate in the state had conspired with Hearst or federal officials to plan the raids. Please, don't hear me saying that I think somebody got to Mike Hearst or that Mike Hearst is trying to help somebody to get elected, and that's why he did this. I'm just saying that there is nothing about this, the timing of this, that is accidental. Mass immigration worksite roundups are not unheard of in Mississippi, Chandler told the Jackson Free Press. In August of 2008, ICE raided Howard Industries in Ellisville, Mississippi, and arrested about 600 immigrant workers. And most of them, guess what? Were deported, because if you're found here working, plus you're illegal, 2 strikes. All right? If you're found here illegal and you can somehow wiggle your way out of that by hiring an attorney, whatever, one of the main things they ever asked you was, have you ever worked while you were here? And your answer is yes. The first thing they think is, so you've been earning money under the table, tax-free, not paying Uncle Sam his just due. You have to go. Private prisons in Mississippi used to house immigrants who committed felonies. Now they're housing refugees. Private prisons have been turned into refugee camps. In 2009, Howard Industry executive Jose Humberto Gonzalez pled guilty to conspiracy charges for hiring undocumented immigrants. A court sentenced him to 6 months of house arrest and a $2.5 million fine. That is it, a slap on the wrist. The only Latino administrative person in that company was the one who was charged with recruiting these workers. They raided that plant, and it was in many instances very violent when they went inside the plant, kicking doors off, dragging people, throwing them to the ground, kicking feet, making people fall, that kind of stuff, zip tying hands behind backs. The Howard raid was the largest single-day work raid in U.S. history at that time, until this one today. So after Wednesday's raid, Jackson mayor said, the city of Jackson is firmly committed to promoting and securing safe communities. We unflinchingly uphold the canon of human rights for human beings, he said. The ICE raids are both dehumanizing and ineffective as a tactic for protecting citizens from potential harm. These raids will only further alienate communities from law enforcement, disrupt community policing efforts, and cause law enforcement officials to forfeit credibility and trust among the people they are sworn to protect and to serve. I'm calling upon the faith institution in our community to become sanctuaries, the churches, for our immigrant neighbors and protect them from potential harm, he said. The city of Jackson strongly objects to Trump's administration's ICE raids. Well, despite Wednesday's ICE raids, Mississippi has one of the smallest population of undocumented immigrants in the country, totaling about 20,000, if you call that small. 20,000 in one place. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave your comment in the comment section below and tell me, do you think that Donald Trump is going to win his next election and become a 2-term president? It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.